Hello and welcome to Nondual Therapy. If this is your first time here, my name is Josh, and I have been on the path of self-discovery. I've been sharing videos on YouTube, and I've been showing my work with the medicine, and I've stumbled across, or I've discovered, for myself at least, I don't know if this exists outside of this, but a new breathing technique. And when I do this breathing technique, it produces the same effects as 5-MeO-DMT, something that I have a lot of experience with. So just a quick backstory of how I came across this breathing technique. Maybe 4 or 5 years ago now, I went to Copenhagen and I did this energy healing retreat, and we did a breathing technique there. Now with this technique, it was quite powerful, and I didn't really understand it. It was very, I was at the beginning of my journey, and I didn't really practice it after the retreat. Maybe for like a few weeks, but then it fell away. And then I came across Wim Hof breathing, which I've talked about a lot on this channel. It's been a big help for me. And I've tried to combine these two breathing methods in the past, and it just never clicked. You know, it never synced up in a way that made sense. And then recently, I've been exploring cannabis again. So I've been, having sessions maybe once a week. 2 sessions ago on cannabis, I finished the session with the feeling that like breathing is next. Like I'm gonna have to do the Wim Hof breathing on cannabis. And it was right at the end of my session, and I didn't feel like continuing it further in that session. So then I waited until my next session, and I felt like I was going to be doing this Wim Hof breathing. For those of you that don't know, Wim Hof breathing is 30 breaths. So I take a big breath in, all the way in, and then the way I do it is I exhale casually down to about 25 to 40% capacity, somewhere in there. So I don't exhale completely, but I inhale, and then I just let it out casually, and then I breathe in again, and I repeat that 30 times. On the 30th inhale, I exhale completely and hold for as long as I can comfortably. So once I hold completely, I'm ready to take a breath, and I breathe all the way in, and I hold that for 15 to 20 seconds. You can find many tutorials on YouTube about this. And that's the Wim Hof method. You do that that's considered a round. So you do that 3 times, and that's a traditional Wim Hof breathing method. So this is what I was doing. I was in the middle of my session on cannabis, and I had quite a long time to myself. So I had a first round of cannabis, smoked, it never came up. And then it came up like, okay, I need to do the breathing. So I went and redosed. I had some more cannabis, came back, and I started doing the breathing. So, 30 breaths, big breath in, release, did that 30 times. And then on the exhale, I exhaled as big as I could. And I held it, and then I inhaled again, and I held it. And, I'm like pushing all the energy to my head, like Wim Hof describes. And on cannabis, it was just so easy. It just made so much more sense. Like, I try and do it sober, and I still don't quite get it. Like, I'm pushing it there, but it's just, on cannabis, it was just effortless. It was just flowing to my brain and everything around here. And as I'm holding that, this is on cannabis, as I'm holding that, I'm not maintaining my sense of awareness in reality. So I'm disappearing. And this is kind of going like in and out through the breaths. I'd come back, and then I'm in the room, and my body's just doing the breathing, and then I'd go away, and then I'd come back, and then I'd go away. But then on this hold, I'm doing the hold with the inhale. I go to exhale, but instead of like starting the next round, I exhale so much deeper than the first exhale, where you gotta let it all out, and you hold it for however long, usually a minute to 2 minutes on the first round. But this was like just so much deeper. Like I could feel it in the pit of my stomach, just like every ounce of oxygen and like life force is just being pushed out. And this is somewhat like the breathing exercise that I learned in Copenhagen, where you breathe out, but you push all the energy down into your stomach. So with the Wim Hof, you push it all to your head. And then I've discovered that after that, instead of just starting the next round, I push all the energy out. And it's kind of like focusing on my stomach, because there's these contractions that happen. If I really, like, it's not even the abs that are contracting, it's like the center of my being. And like, I'm like pulsating. And as I'm breathing out, and if I stop breathing out, the pulsations seem to stop. Like I can hold it and there's a little bit of pulsing, but then if I push it, like, it's just amazing how much further I can push it. Like I don't think I have any more air in me, but it just keeps coming out. It just keeps coming out, coming out, coming out, like down to like the last atom. And then when I've like completely exhausted it, then I start the next round. So it's really the Wim Hof with just this added exhale. So that happened on cannabis, and I didn't know what to think of it. I was kind of more contemplating, like, oh, what does this mean? What could I do with this? How could I use this for clients? And, you know, I wasn't really ready to explore it further. I did another round and it didn't, like, it felt right, but it didn't provide anything for me to go on. So I finished my session, and then the next day I tried it sober, and I did one round. One round of breathing, and it didn't really do anything. You know, I'm like dipping my toe in because I'm not sure. I'm still trying to figure it out maybe, and I'm like somewhat scared of what's going to happen. I don't know. I've always had this reservation for the breathing. I know it's been a part of me. That's a funny thing too, is like I finally became ready to explore the breathing fully, and then this breathing technique emerged. And before that, I was just like, I'd kind of do it sometimes and kind of not do it sometimes and whatever. Anyway, but now that I finally crossed that line or whatever, and I'm ready to explore it, and it just emerged. So anyway, so the next day I'm like, okay, I'm going to do 3 rounds. So that's what Wim Hof does. And so I explored that, and on the second hold, it seems to be like a lot more pulsing than the first hold. But then on the third round, the final exhale, that's where, like, it's like identical to breaking through on 5-MeO DMT for me. I've done it 4 or 5 times now, 5 days in a row, I guess I do it. And each time it seems to be progressing. So like every time I do it, there's like something new that's like emerging. So it's like a continual thing. And I got to make this video sometime. So by the time this is out, I'm sure it's like evolved to something else. But I can see the evolution every single day. So the first day I was playing my music, so I can't really play it on YouTube or else I'll get a copyright strike. But it was like breaking through, and then there was like that, and then I came to the realization that I was doing that, and then it became English, and then I was like fully there. Like I decided, and I crossed that line, and I was like fully in the non-dual space. And then after that, I got up and I like paced around the room, and I was like I've done that on 5-MeO too, where I'm just like, I'm God, and I'm trying to understand it. It's like, there's nothing to understand. It's like, it's already here. But I'm like pacing around, I'm trying to understand it. So then the second day I stayed, the second day I paced around again, and it was the same thing. So then the third day I stayed on the mat, and instead of like walking around and pacing around, my hands were doing this, like I've shown so many times on 5-MeO. You know, it didn't last very long. But this seemed to be more, like I'm rolling on my back, and this seemed to be more in line with the practice as opposed to walking around and, you know, who knows what I'm doing. And then the next day I did again, and then this happened again, and, you know, the voice, and actually a thing that happened was when I'm holding my breath, because I at this point I know it's going to happen. Like I've done it like 4 days in a row or whatever it was, 3-4 days in a row. So I'm like expecting it now. And I'm holding my breath. I'm like, okay, I'm going to like not make those noises. Like the, like that's still like not fully broken through. like when I speak English, then I've broken through. So I'm not going to make those noises. And then I was like, well, why do I make those noises? It's like, because I don't believe yet. Like, why don't I just believe right now? And then I exhaled all the way down, and then it was like the English was just like right there. It was right there. So there's this progression of like accepting that it's like this all the time. So this is a tool to break through, and I haven't shared this with anyone, so I don't know if anyone else could have these similar results. I'm curious if anyone does try this. Please let me know down below how it went. And if you use cannabis, I'd also like to know how it is on that, because I'm assuming it would be better. That's probably my next experiment. But I'm going to keep doing this every day. So every time I break through, it's just like look at my other videos. It's like breaking through on 5-MeO DMT. Yeah, so that's it. 30 breaths, and on the 30th breath, exhale completely, and you hold it. And you hold it for as long as you comfortably can. And then after that, you breathe in all the way in, 100%. And I kind of push it. I push it into my head, like I'm like put the attention here, and I don't know. I still don't fully understand it, so I'm not really good at sharing how I do it. But I don't even know if I'm doing it right. But then after that, that's where Wim Hof ends. But then like you breathe out, and I'm telling you, the exhale is so much deeper than the first one. You can go so much further. That's where the magic is. It's like, Wim Hof serves a purpose for something, and this is something else. Anyway, that's where I'm at with it, and I'm sure there'll be more videos in the future as this evolves. But I'm able to have a non-dual experience every day, and I will say that this is not guaranteed to have the similar results. Like, I post videos sometimes, and people message me. He's like, "Well, this didn't happen for me." Like, okay, well, some results vary, but I'm not saying I'm special in any way, and this can happen. Like, I remember when Martin Ball, he's talked about, doing this on medicine, and that never happened for me. But then when it finally started happening, it's like, oh fuck, this is like, anybody can do this. Anybody can get to this place where it's just like, because that's the way it is. That's how it works. But yeah, I'm curious to know how your experiences are, if anyone out there is willing to give this breathing technique a try. So that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.
And yes, I adoro. I know. Yes, I am reality. Yes. Yes.